Not be too close. I'm the guy. I'm the dude. I'm the dude.
I can keep my face here, whereas you.
You guys ready?
Ready.
That's not just apple juice, is it?
No. Well, it comes from apples.
Yeah.
And it tastes like juice.
Yeah. And then it's got tequila in it.
No.
Vodka.
No.
Rum.
It's just a beer. All right. Welcome to the Dyckman Podcast, an original experience as told by a group of friends. This podcast is brought to you by Full NYC, encouraging confidence throughout the entire city. Today, we are here for Mangú Aquí, as you can see in the poster. My name is Kevin Bencosme. I am the lead actor in Mangú Aquí, and I'm also here with three individuals. Luke Bond, the director of the movie. We have Carlito Hatube, the writer and producer of the movie. And we have a special guest, Eddie Castro, friend of the show, friend of the movie, friend of the team.
Thank you.
So I would like to start this off by having you guys introduce yourselves to the audience. Tell them, a little bit about yourselves. How'd you get here? How'd you get your start? Luke, would you like to start?
Yeah, sure. As he said, my name is still Luke. I do writing, directing, producing, editing. I also know how to juggle, which I think is really cool. And right, I know. I think it's like at the top of my resume, and that's how I get gigs. I directed Mangú Aquí and also edited Mangú Aquí, and it was a blast. Yeah.
He also edited. I forgot to say that as well. He juggles many talents.
See?
You know.
He acted in it too.
Oh, I was a cop for like 2 seconds. Just because our cop guy didn't show up, And most people think I'm a DT, when I wander into parties and people are like, "You're an undercover DT, aren't you?" And I'm like, "No, I promise." Yeah.
Narc.
I know, right? Yeah, it's no fun. Everyone just puts away all the fun stuff as soon as I show
You
up.
didn't have to say that. You could have just said that, you got it because you earned it. You worked really hard. That's how he got
To
it.
cast myself, I
Yeah.
mean,
Yeah.
No, see, I looked at that completely different. I looked at it like because he didn't mention acting in his talents because he wasn't acting.
Yeah.
He just put on a little 99-cent vest.
put on a vest,
and
kind of voice.
and threw me on a wall.
Oh.
That's the best way to view it. I'm not acting. I am the character, right? Daniel Day-Lewis, part 2. So you should introduce yourself so I can shut up. Yeah.
No, actually, I was enjoying this. But, okay, so I'm Carlito Hatube. My name, Carlito. When I was a little kid, they used to call me Carlito in DR. I don't like my last name, my real last name, so I went with my town name. Hatube is where I was born. We had to leave when I was like 2, so I don't remember much of it.
And Hatube is located where?
That's in Bonao in the Dominican Republic. So not many people know about it because it's tiny. Yeah. So, but hopefully, we're trying to make it famous here.
I'm going to be honest. You chose a great artist last name because I thought that was your last name all the way until you told me it wasn't.
I thought it was until right now.
Yeah.
I'm not even kidding. Like I've used you as a reference, right? Because you're my producer. I'm like, oh, talk to him. His name is Carlito Hatube, and now they're gonna think I'm lying. That you're a fake reference.
But you know what? It's unique. It's a unique name, and it comes from one of the Native American tribes of Quisqueya. That's what Dominican Republic was known as before.
You have a great name to send spam emails. You get a lot of credit card numbers, brother.
Is that a compliment? Wait a minute.
Wait. What's going on?
Yeah.
I didn't know we were supposed to give an origin story though. Like we're all supposed to give like our origin story.
Yes.
Like,
are you related to James? Hello?
No. I'm related to Peter Stuyvesant. Though.
Wait, what?
I'm related to Peter Stuyvesant though. That's not actually a flex, big time colonizer. But Stuytown is named after him. You know where Stuytown is?
Yes,
Right about a
I know where
village?
Stuytown is, yes.
It's basically
Yeah.
named after me essentially. And there's Bond Streets as well, so half the city is already mine. Yeah.
Wow. Okay. Now all right.
Wow,
You're
power
somebody.
players.
I mean, you were allowed to, origin stories.
Well, I was bit by a spider.
I mean,
I
I've been
can't
surprised
shoot
by
webs out
too.
of it.
Are you implying that there was some radioactive material
I
involved?
can't say that because, we got to maintain.
I've been bit by spiders too.
In New York City, you're more likely to get bit by a cockroach than a spider.
Or a rat.
Ooh, or a rat.
I once
Can you
tripped on a
imagine?
rat in Washington Heights. Yeah.
A rat man?
I don't even want to imagine that.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, it was
Like,
the
you
size
just,
of
like,
a
spread
football.
filth. Like,
Well, you'll never run out of food. You just got to eat garbage, right?
yeah, right.
Yeah.
Anyways.
Going,
Yeah. Anyway, so I want to talk about myself here. Like, where you
Speaking of rats,
We went there. It's a roast now.
So yeah, Calito had to Bay. That's where I was at. So I'm a writer, and I discovered I was a writer in the 8th grade. Well, somebody else discovered. My teacher, she told me, like, I hardly knew English then, but she was like, your sentences, you could write full sentences. You're good. And I'm like, okay. And then in high school, I wrote a piece about, my childhood, like, what apples tasted like in the Dominican Republic. And my teacher, the Spanish teacher, said, wow, this is a poem. And I'm like, really? And then I still have it, so I read it the other day, and I'm like, wow, this is a poem. This is pretty good. And then I don't know, I went in college, I studied writing. And so because I graduated in 2004, so I was like, you know what, I'm going to start writing. And, 1 year goes, and another year, and essentially a decade, and, almost 2 decades. So the pandemic came, and I'm like, you know what, I got to write. Yeah. What else am I going to do? So I started writing, and I wrote the script of Mangú Aquí. Actually, I didn't write the script of Mangú Aquí. I wrote.
you had a ghostwriter?
I wrote something else. I wrote a whole series in Spanish, and then my one of the producers, he suggested, like, yeah, you got to get more experience in English here in the U.S. So then I came up with Mangú Aquí. So that's where this whole thing was born.
So we'll get to what Manguaki is and the conception of all that, but we didn't let Eddie introduce himself. Eddie, please.
Never mind.
I mean,
Let me just continue. Yeah.
No, so so I was bit by a spider. No, so my name is Eddie Castro. Filmmaker, writer, director, act a little, born in the Bronx, raised in Yonkers, always a Bronx kid, forever.
Oh, me too.
I bet you can't juggle though. I don't know. Just saying.
That's why I'm impressed by you, man. I'm just like, how do you do that? Like,
No, it's a lot of practice.
Can you ride a bicycle?
Moving on. No, like I can't. I just had terrible balance. It's funny. Like I made like a little short film, like part of like another short with other students at school, and my part was like riding a bike, and I used my it's not a GoPro, it's like a DJI action cam, like on the front, like looking at me, and I'm like,
wait, can you ride a bicycle?
I didn't answer that, did I? Yeah. Sure, I can.
But so you were like, what? Can you just let us
You
see
want me to
again?
do it again and embarrass myself? Like,
No, I just didn't get the good luck the first time. Just one more time, I think. For
No, all right, that's 3 times. No, but so where was I? Bit by
You were
Spider.
talking about being from the Bronx and
Yes.
how you used to steal bicycles and ride them.
Right, exactly, because I'm Dominican, so that's what we do. No, fuck this. We Bronx, Yonkers, and I've always been like a writer at heart. Like I noticed early on that I'm like writing some stuff just like real quick in school, just to like because I'm a daydreamer, and I would get good grades back. I'm like, oh, okay, I didn't even. But I started actually liking it because I didn't like writing at all. But it made sense because maybe like you had these thoughts in your mind that you just wanted to put out there and share with people, and it's not just enough to just like speak it, but to write it down and have people read it and come up with their own interpretation of what the story is. So I've written a bunch of stuff that you'll never read, but it helped me become a better writer eventually. And so there was a point where I just said I have to stop writing these scripts and sending them out and not getting anything back. So I said, you know what? I'm gonna go to film school because I've always wanted to, and I'm gonna go learn direct. I'm gonna learn how to direct. And I've always been fascinated by visual images and putting them together with the writing. It just finally came to a cross where I said, you know what, I'm just gonna go and I'm gonna figure this out. Because I didn't know anything about cameras except like point, shoot, focus. Contrast, exposure, and aperture. I was like, what the hell's all that?
Yeah.
But I learned all of that, and now I'm semi-competent with that. But the point is that I know at least enough to communicate what I want for my story.
All right, so let's slow down a little bit.
Yeah.
So you guys all started. Luke, did you start off as a writer as well? Did you?
Yeah.
Or were you always like? Did you want to direct and then writing came after?
No, I really just wanted to write, but then I came to the conclusion that the only way my stories were going to come to life correctly was if I
to
was to
be
also
seen?
direct.
Right.
If I were to also direct, right, and not trust anybody else.
Right,
Yeah, I think I
right.
handed it off.
So where did the transition? This is for the three of you guys. Where did the transition of, or the realization that writing wasn't just enough? People can't just read it to themselves. People can't just you can't just write a story and keep it in your computer. Where did the realization that you had to make it a visual aspect? Like you went to film school. So what school did you go to?
I went to Brooklyn College.
And did you go to school for
No,
the film?
no, I didn't go to school at all.
So you
for
just
film.
started. You just dove into it.
Yeah, I think that's a good question. Like,
Mm-hmm.
when do you realize, like, like nobody's actually, like, so many people are writing, and there's a limited amount of people who are gonna buy your film and your script and actually make it into a film. So I'm like, but I'm doing this, and I don't want it just to sit on my computer.
Mm-hmm.
So during the pandemic, I wrote, and I'm thinking, okay, so I'm making this happen.
Mm-hmm.
Like it became my mission. And luckily for me, I have a great partner, and that's L.A. Benavides, who's behind the camera. Because I think, like, from the very beginning, I'm shooting ideas back and forth. Like, we'll spend hours on the phone on a daily basis. So I think that's when, somewhere in that time period during the pandemic, when as I'm talking to him, that's when it clicked. Like, okay, we gotta shoot this thing.
Because you need to make money.
I need to
Basically.
make money, but
Basically.
I gotta see it. Yes, I do need to make
Basically,
lots of money.
Basically. All right, and Luke, when did you realize that your stories needed to be seen, not heard?
I started with theater and running plays and such, and but so the only way to find out what works and what doesn't work is to do it in front of a live audience, really, and that's the most educational part of Mangú Aquí is when you see it in front of an audience and you see what's working and what's not working.
Yeah.
And that was definitely the best education for me. Was 3 times a year throwing up a play in a small black box theater and failing a lot and learning a lot, and that's definitely in terms of storytelling. Is how I learned everything. But then, slowly transitioning into film and needing it to be accessible to a lot of people, right? Because I put on a play and then people would say, oh, I want to see your work. And I was like, well, it happened and it'll never happen again. So I don't know how you're going to do that. So I realized, if I filmed the play, but then, made it look like a movie, but still just throwing in tons of dialogue.
For sure.
Then it's something I could permanently have to show people whenever. And it's unfortunately, that's the reality of our world, right? Theater is dead, but now anyone can go online and watch anything I do, and instead of having to wait for the next time.
Yeah. It's definitely a different experience because when you do theater, people have to get dressed up, they have to go out, they have to make it a deal, they have to go out of their way to go see your work. And if it's on screen, I could really just be eating Cheetos in my boxers in my couch and hit a button.
I mean, you'd be surprised who shows up to the theater with Cheetos in their boxers, but yes.
And being in New York City, I'm sure you've seen some.
Oh yeah, no, Eddie's grandma. Yeah.
Eddie, I know you just did your. Was that your first film? Your first project that you just did?
Shots?
Yeah.
No, that's actually the 6th movie I've done.
6th movie. Wow. How long have you been making films?
Well, so most of them have been through school. One of them I did, with a bunch of friends for a competition.
Okay.
But yeah, this one was the first one that I did on my own. Go out and get my own financing and go get my own crew, equipment, insurance, all that stuff.
Nice. Nice. Was this a project that you did while you were a student and then recreated it, or was it an original piece of work?
No, original. Yeah, this was something I came up with after the fact. Just because after you do something, after you write something, you have so many ideas anyway, and you just put them to the side while you work on the one project.
Yeah.
So I finished up my thesis, put it out there to film festivals and all that, and then just thinking about the next one. And actually, this came about, I guess, I don't know, organically. I just came up with this idea about like self-respect. And in fact, that's still what I call it, like my folder. I don't have it labeled shots. I have it labeled as self-respect because that's the essence of it. That's the premise, is this kid earning his self-respect.
Okay. So the name of the film is called Shots.
Right.
Is it a short film?
It is a short film. Hopefully somewhere around 15 minutes.
Okay.
Yeah, we wrapped like 2 or 3 weeks ago, so
Okay.
I'm still editing, still in post.
Okay, cool. And it's about a kid that got bullied.
Right.
And a retaliation.
Yeah, kind of. So yeah, the kid is bullied by these kids in school. I mean, you could sort of see that maybe he's a bit younger than some of the other kids, so he's a target because of that. And then he's got a father who's a cop, and he's kind of a bully himself to the kid. So like the mom just left because he was, maybe you could imagine, he's physically or verbally abusive, and now the kid is left behind, and he blames the kid. So he's getting it from all over the place.
Okay. And I'm assuming he like. Well, let's not give it away. Let's talk about that later.
I played a cop once.
I heard that.
Yeah. No, they're pretty.
This guy against the wall.
Number one job profession for beating their wives.
An abusive cop.
I didn't say any of that.
I mean, I'm saying that.
I'm saying it.
but no one else
I
has
have
to.
tickets outstanding, and I didn't say any of that.
Yeah.
Some of your best friends are cops, right? Like,
Oh yeah, I for sure.
I'm sure they're fine. I'm sure they don't. Do mean
All
things to
right.
their wives. Yeah.
So let's get into the reason we're all here. We're all wearing Mangú Aquí shirts, as you can see. Let's talk a little bit about Mangú Aquí, the story. I want to get into the process of it. I want to do some sort of reflection now that it's been almost a year since. We haven't really spoken about the actual process of what happened. We kind of just did it, promoted it, and then hey, it's done. But I want to get your guys' thoughts, and I also chip in my thoughts as well. Carlito, it's your story. Why don't you give a quick synopsis about what it's about to anybody that hasn't seen it yet?
yeah. So this story is about this Dominican guy who is a young man who works very hard, but is socially awkward, especially when it comes to like dating. Like he has like no game. He doesn't know how to like get the attention, but he wants someone.
Wait, I'm sorry. I said, what is Mangú Aquí about?
Shit, man. Not okay. I'm sorry, it's too personal. Yeah.
This is all embarrassing.
Yeah. So that's him, and
Young man named.
he's Roberto, and I named him after a close friend who I love dearly. And he's another person I talk to frequently about my ideas about writing.
And Roberto, he goes about it's about his life and his mistrials in dating. Does he fall in love with somebody? Does he have a backstory? What is this about?
So he falls in love, and finally someone gives him a chance. Everything is perfect because this woman he's dating is like ideal until one little event happens, and that is he introduces her to his traditional Dominican mom, who's just like notorious.
All right, so let's stop right there. What's this woman's name in the story, in the movie?
So the mother is Carmen, and played by Aide Rosario. She's great.
Aide Rosario.
Yeah, the great,
amazing.
yes.
Amazing.
Rosario. And the woman that Roberto falls in love with?
She is Katrina.
Katrina, played by?
Francesca Pujols.
Amazing Francesca Pujols.
Yeah.
Did a wonderful job.
And she's a model. Yeah.
Yeah, and when in this story, so we have Roberto, who is going through his life and mistrials of dating, like I said, meets Katrina. They hit it off immediately, or do they not? Like, is this like a fairy tale? Because
right
for
away,
Roberto to be going through, so much like a lack of game, like you said, and to just magically meet this woman, did they hit it off right away, or did he have to go through some stuff for it?
No, they didn't hit it off. I mean, I guess in his world, like from his view, yeah, they were like fine, but she's like, what the hell is this guy all about? Like type thing. No, so it didn't work out. But then I don't know. I think her friend convinces her, like, no, give this weird guy, give him a chance. Give him a little chance.
Yeah.
So you gotta. I think you personally have to call her friend. What her friend's name is Susie. So Susie is the one who actually made this relationship work.
Played by the great Evan Simone Fraser.
Yes. Brought by Luke. He.
Yes.
Has that.
And so the conflict of this movie is Roberto introducing Katrina to his mother Carmen, and you said that Carmen was a traditional Dominican woman. Does that make Katrina non-traditional?
Yeah, so Dominicans. Okay, so I got to say this in Spanish because I learned this as I was writing. I learned these terms like que popi or wa. Like I didn't know this, so like, but when I was writing this, like some people asked me about it. So, what is a popi? Do you know? No. Do you know? Like, who knows what a popi is and what a wa is? It's new. So a popi.
I'm gonna let you tell it. It's your
No,
story. It's your story. I'm gonna let you tell it.
Wait, you want to say it?
No, go ahead.
So popi is somebody who's more like high class, right? Wa. So what would you say?
Baby crying? A low class baby crying? Yeah.
Well, I don't know. Like, so there's upper class and non-upper class, I guess. You know, is the best way I
Non-upper class.
Yeah, I don't know.
Oh, we get more and more vague as
Yeah.
time goes on to describe poor people, yeah. The non-upper class. Yeah.
That's good. Right. So, well, you know, but that's the problem. Like, you know, this, I guess she is a poppy because she is not traditional in the sense that of a Dominican wife who is going to cook, who is going to clean and do all these house chores that are expected in a more traditional Dominican setting. Or maybe in a traditional setting worldwide, but so she's not about that. And once the mother breaks through that, it took it like 5 seconds to see, like, what? Are you kidding me? No. Why are you wasting my time with this guy? So that's where the dilemma comes in.
Is that also where the title of the movie came from?
The title of the movie.
Is the title of the movie also A River in the DR?
So, the title of the movie, Mangu. So, Mangu is this food that Dominicans eat.
I directed it. I know. I promise you.
No, but, well, you know what? Let me just...
No, you need to explain because some people don't know what Mangu
Right,
is.
yes, sorry. I'll
Go for it, man.
No, but you know what?
Well, let's not get off track. The reason I asked that is because you were talking about the difference between Roberto's mother and Roberto's girlfriend, and how you mentioned how Roberto's mother Carmen wants Roberto to marry a woman that cooks for him, that cleans, that does the. We keep using the word traditional, but I'm thinking more of gender roles that and to fit the typical gender roles of society. So I'm asking, is that where Mangú Aquí came from as the title? And I know in the trailer, she says, "I want you to marry a woman que te hace Mangú Aquí, that makes you Mangu." So is that where the origin of the
well, the name, the original name that I came up with actually gives away the story, and we'll see in part 2 that is coming up. By the way, part 2. We'll see that what happens, but in the name that I originally had picked out, it kind of it was a different name. However, LA. He was like, "Yeah, that doesn't sound Dominican enough."
Okay, would you be able to give us the name without spoiling the story for part 2?
No.
Okay.
Yeah, it's kind of tricky to do it, but so you got to see once you see part 2, then I could
No,
answer
for
that
sure.
question.
That's
Yeah,
fine. Once you do part 2, we can come back and always do this all over again.
Yeah.
All right, so we got typical romantic comedy. Throwing some Dominican in there, throwing some New York in there, you know, and
Spice.
yeah, little
Double.
spices, little salt and pepper, you know, make it happen. Okay, so now let's move on to the process of making Manguaki. We shot this in 10 days.
8 days.
8 days. And it took longer than 8 days. You can't just say, I'm going to do a movie in a week and a day. You have to start off from casting, getting the crew together, locations, budgets, production. After the first thing would be you writing the story, linking up with LA, like you mentioned. What was the next thing that you guys did? Like once you guys linked up and said we're gonna make this movie happen, what was the initial?
So the next thing we decided, you know what? Let's get a crew. together. Let's put an ad where people can apply. So Backstage is actually the website we used, and right there, you applied, and Luke applied, and a few other people as well. So it was a bit of a hard choice for us, but
It wasn't hard at all.
But they're not at this table
It was not a hard choice at all.
for a reason.
all right. Yes, it wasn't hard. I mean, no. Once I saw,
It's okay.
Kevin.
You can give me my flowers. It's cool.
Yeah, I didn't give you a flower, and we gave Francesca flower, and I did, but not you
It's very
or
sad.
you.
That was kind of rude, yeah.
Yeah, that was. Sorry, at the
I
premiere.
mean,
we're
I'm
talking
glad you said it because I was thinking it. Would you know?
Yeah, you brought it up, so teamwork, yeah.
Chocolates next time. All right.
about- Okay, yeah.
I do prefer things I can eat, yeah. So you got a
Okay.
crew.
Okay, so you got the crew. You went on Backstage and you just said, you know what, world, come to me. Show me the people that will make this film happen.
That's it. That's exactly how it happened. So no, like I mean, no, really, hiring people it's hard because you want to pick the right people for your project. Because to have somebody to represent your idea, what you have in mind. It's like, and I think you alluded to this before. Like it's in writing. But okay, so how do we bring it to life? So like, it's so much details. So I think. When I saw Luke's work, like he showed me some of the work that he did, and I actually loved it. Like I saw Paul Makes Everything Worse, right?
Paul Makes Everything Worse, yeah. It's available on Cold Open streaming service, which is totally free, or on YouTube. Paul Makes Everything
I
Worse.
want to see it just based off the name.
Yeah.
That's a great name.
Yeah, no, and it was funny. Like we actually LA and I decided on hiring Luke, because we hired the director first, okay, because the director was also gonna help us with the cast,
Director has the vision.
right, and with the actors. So once I saw that, I was like, yo, that was like one of the determinant points for me to go with Luke.
Okay, now I know they asked you, both of you, this in the premiere, but I want to ask you in front of a public audience. Being that Luke is not Dominican, you're not Dominican, right?
No, not recently.
sure?
Did that come into play with choosing him? I'm assuming you've had not only Dominican but Hispanic, Latino directors that applied just based off the name of the film. So was that a conversation between the two of you, or a conversation amongst yourselves, amongst the two of you, in choosing Luke?
Yeah, yes, all of the above. It was a conversation between LA and I. Like at first, it was like, that was like the one con that he had.
Con, he says.
Yeah,
He's got other advantages.
pros and cons.
That's con. Okay.
So, but and even so, it's funny because in the interview also Luke mentioned that he said, I don't speak Spanish, blah blah blah, but it was so much that he brought to the table, at least from our point of view, that we felt like, no, we can't go wrong with this guy. Like this is the guy for this film, and it turned out like it was a big decision. It was a tough decision, but it was the right decision for us.
Good deal.
And Luke, I want to throw that question to you. What did you look at this like have you ever done a film, like a Spanish film or a Dominican-based film?
No,
Like that?
no, I've done
What
a couple.
were some hurdles that you were looking at when taking this on?
I mean, yeah, that's the primary thing. But I've directed things before where there are scenes that people speak in Spanish, but for theater and never for film, it's not a huge difference in terms of the language. But you just have to have the right people around you. I mean, like with any film, right? You have to have the people who know the content around you. You need to know what you're doing in your research. And yeah, I mean, those scenes maybe lost something because I don't speak Spanish. But it was maybe 20% of the film is in Spanish, maybe even less. And Colito is there, and the actors are there, and they know it well, and they know it all. And we shot those scenes as well later in the shoot, which I think was really good that we did that, because at that point I know how these actors work, and everyone sort of set up their relationship with everyone else, and it was kind of easy to see things fall into place at that point in the process. But yeah, it's definitely not ideal, and I told you guys you should hire somebody who speaks Spanish. But I mean, when you put up a posting on Backstage,
I didn't know you guys.
when you put up a posting on Backstage, and I mean, you're not offering tremendous amounts of money because this was pretty low budget, you're only going to have so many people apply. And even if there is someone there who's a Spanish speaker, but they're fresh out of school, I mean, who knows? Maybe they would have killed it. But yeah, you guys went off.
No, but you did have competition.
Before you go, it's funny you say that this was pretty low budget because this was the highest budget I've ever seen for anything I've done.
I mean, yeah, I mean, it's
I was like low budget.
Relative.
I'm like, we ate twice a day. Low budget.
No pizza.
You know how many times I gotta come in like already full? Like I don't know.
Oh, this was some of the best crafty we had. I mean, 'cause we had
man.
really good Dominican food for this, and Dominicans know how to cook chicken better than anyone else. And as an outsider, I can say that for a fact, right?
We up there. We top 5.
We know what it is.
Top 5.
But I mean, there was some challenge. There was some other experienced director also who apply, who had the language. But no, really, you had a lot of skills that you brought to the table, and the editing also.
For sure. Eddie, do you want to say
No,
something?
I was just gonna say. I just wanted to chime in as someone who was not part of it initially. Just as a viewer, I mean, just the writing, the themes came through. There are a lot of universal themes. So even though it is in Spanish, you don't have to be Spanish to enjoy it. You know, it could be Asian, it could be Black, it could be Jewish. You know, the same kind of universal themes of like the mother being traditional and the new girlfriend not being and like the bumping against like generations. That's what shined through, and that's where the comedy came from. You know, so it's universal and it's also specific, so that anybody can get it. But if you're Dominican or just Spanish, you get it even more because you're like, I know someone like, mi abuela, you know, like you know it. But even if you don't know Spanish, you can still get it. You still relate to it because you know somebody like that.
Yeah. No,
I want to piggyback a little more on because we are talking about Luke, and I've told you this privately, but right after Mangú Aquí, about a month later, I co-directed my first film. I took a lot of stuff that you did on set and brought it over there because one thing that it is about directors, some people just don't know how to make films. But I mean that I don't mean that in a you're gonna make a bad film. I mean, when everything hits the fan, how are we going to do this? Right. How are we going to plan this out? How are we going to, what's the best way that we're going to film this movie? And Luke did a lot of that. He was, even though the reason I bring this up is because, yeah, he might not be born into the culture, raised into the culture, but I know how to make films. You guys have the flavor. I know how to cook, kind of, And, yeah, I just really wanted to let you know that, and also thank you for the process.
Wait a minute. I think he's getting too many praises here. I kind of want to say something a little.
I mean, I thought we were only like halfway to the.
I'm saying though, like I want.
We were just getting started.
Oh, yeah,
I want to keep it real.
Started,
It's cool, man. We'll teach you how to juggle later.
Here's what happened though. Like I knew we were in big trouble. Like we was like, oh man, there's a big cultural challenge. This is real. Like when we went out, like like you mentioned food. Like we were fed twice a day, actually 3 times a day, because for breakfast, we also have breakfast. So like one of the things we go to the supermarket, Luke and I, we go shopping. So we're there with a big car. Like okay, so we need juices, we need this, we need that, and then like okay, so I'm like double parked somewhere. Like all right, Luke, they sell coconuts there. Right? You remember that?
I remember this day.
Yeah. So, like, he goes, entra al supermercado y sale con 2 coco seco. I'm like...
Did you read the script at all?
Yeah. Like, Luke, no, coco seco, no. We need those green coconuts full of water, So that, like...
Some education, a learning curve to be done there. That's why you have pre-production, though, That's why
For sure. Now, at this point in the process, you have Luke. Now let's get to the casting. Obviously, I won.
Casting's done. Let's get to the shoot.
Right. But I want to ask you guys, and you could chime in with your process as well. I'm gonna ask you a fun question. What are some of the worst tapes that you guys saw that people submitted and you were like, I can't believe this person really thought they were gonna like do that?
Well, there's one person. His name was
Did anything
It's hard to be
stand out
specific
like
about-
horribly bad?
I mean, one person came into the audition room with his own construction outfit, which
Nice.
I props to or whatever, and
Nice,
I was like,
nice.
I hope this is the one, but it's hard to be specific as to people who fit the role or don't fit the role, and it very often has nothing to do with are you a bad actor, are you a good actor. I mean, we need good actors, right? But whether or not you fit this particular character, and it's very hard, and this is why acting and auditioning is so incredibly hard. You
It's
never
its
know
own process,
why you
yeah.
got rejected, and you go to your 10th callback and still don't get the part, and you don't know
Yeah,
why,
yeah.
and that's
Very
what
true,
makes
very
that
true.
so incredibly difficult. But as us on the other side of the table can say as many times as possible that it's nothing to do with you or your talent. It's really that we're looking for the right person for this role, and it wasn't you, and that kind of thing happens all the time. Yeah.
Yeah, and also like actually the time I'm working on this project so hard, and like I actually wasn't able to make it to the casting. I had COVID, and I'm like, okay, I gotta stay home now.
Wait. You guys had like an actual in-person casting?
Yeah. Yeah.
I did not
you
know
were
that.
invited to that, but you were too busy making money. But that's okay. You beat people who came in person with your.
I don't even have to show up.
That's how good you. Yeah, dude. No, really, you were the right part. No, we did have people in person, man, and
Which is how we got Francesca for Katrina. She came in person, and she was, the best one there easily.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you see any horror stories from casting? Because I know your main character is a child.
Yeah.
Did any grown men apply?
It's funny you say that because
Bring their voices up a little bit.
Yeah, right. No, yeah. So I put the character description out there, right? 12 to 14 years old, Hispanic, right? And like I swear, I was getting like people like that, like were 45 years old. Like, look, and like, how do you think this is gonna go? Really?
They're like the
Gonna come
de-aging
in-
technology. Just use the de-aging technology. If they can do it for
Deepfake,
Harrison Ford,
deepfake.
they can do it for me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You got the
I know
gray
you.
beard.
I know you got that because I do that. Like as a working actor, if I see something that I'm clearly not fit for, I'll still apply sometimes just because you never know.
You never know.
Never
Maybe
know.
the director ran out of choices or this or that. But like it's a kid in high school. You have a gray beard. What are you doing? And then like you got your kid in the background jumping around. Okay, no, you know what? Bring the kid. Let's see the kid. What can he do? Like, but no. It's I can't say horror stories like Luke said. You audition people and things just don't work out. And it's never really about like whether or not you're good. It's really about does this person fit the role?
And it's good. Yeah.
And he's good, right? No, that helps
No,
too.
good is the first.
Good. It fits the role and available.
Yeah.
Availability is huge.
Right.
Like there were so many people
Yes.
that applied, and we had, let's say, from June 19th through the 23rd, and they'd say, "Oh, we're not available the 21st, 22nd." Like, well, then I can't.
Yep.
You know, like these are the days that we have. These are the only days that we had the school available.
That's why it's good to cast really early in the process as well. Block those dates out as far in advance as you can.
I remember when you guys told me that I had gotten the role. I was at work. I remember you called me. I was at work, but I was doing rehearsals for the movie that I ended up directing, One Life to Live, and I spoke to the producers and the directors, and I told them, hey, I have this movie that I really want to do. I feel like it would be good for me. We were only filming on weekends, me and One Life to Live, and we were doing straight through the week, and we had that one day off. So I told them, hey, listen, if you just give me one day to get the day off, I will film this movie in between us filming this movie. And they were like, how are you going to be able to do that? And I'm like, don't worry about it. Like I can do Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and come right back and get right into it. But I bring that up because of availability. Granted, we ended up pushing those dates back, but the attempt was there. Most people would say, oh, no, I'm already doing something. But no, you got to be available. And if you're not available, you got to make yourself available.
Yeah, it's huge. We need you there. It's the same thing with the cast, with the crew. We need the crew there. Like if you're supposed to be doing sound and all of a sudden you can't show up, then how are
there's
we gonna
no
get
shoot.
sound? Right, exactly.
No
we need
shoot.
everyone available.
Let me though challenge you guys. I hear what you're saying, but I think because of your schedule, Kevin, like we actually we went back and we were like, okay, so we need different days because Kevin is not available on this day.
Yeah,
Kind
I
of
remember
what you
that.
said.
Yeah, but we were still months out though, so it's pretty easy to change it up
remember
when
that,
you're months
yeah.
away. Yeah. But you got to book people months in advance. You got to get them contracts. You got to have kill fees for these people in case if you need to change. And that's the only way to ensure.
Yeah,
that's the only
because
way
you have to set up
security.
locations. If you're like you're at a Airbnb or you get a school or something, this is the only day we can shoot here.
Yeah, well, I don't even start any type of hiring process until everything else is locked down.
Yeah.
You know, until
That's the best way to do it, honestly.
Yeah.
That's the best way
But
to
you
do
got
it.
to do months in advance.
That's the best way to
this
do
stuff
it.
takes a lot of time and forethought. Yeah.
Yeah. You know, funny story. So remember when we did the party scene in the basement? That day in itself was crazy for me specifically.
Yeah, that was a rough day. Yeah.
That day was crazy.
It's the worst.
But one of the so I networked with some of the background actors. Some of them I've used, some of them I haven't. Two of them specifically I booked for a shoot, and they both told me 30 minutes after call time I can't make it.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
I'm talking about I'm already filming and they're sending me a DM, hey, I'm not going to be able to make it. I'm like, bro, I already adjusted the scene to take you out of it.
Well, that's
Sometimes you get real horror stories in while you're filming. And it takes an experienced person to be able to adjust when everything goes bad. We're going to cook it up and make something out of it.
That's the thing, though, right? If we are a director, it's not just about, oh, I know how to shoot this and like compose the frame and everything else. It's about what can I do when things go, all to hell. Like that's the creativity part of it too.
Yep.
Like our first day, we were supposed to have not just the one bully and the kid, but we were supposed to have at least two. And so the second kid didn't show up. It's supposed to be about like at least like 4 bullies, but we could only get like just one extra kid, and he wasn't available. We were like,
Did you call that 45-year-old man who?
Adolfo? Yeah, no,
just to get the kid and his kid in the background who was jumping around. Yeah.
Hey, you're not playing the child. You're playing his father.
right. Just
Playing
like
his father with schizophrenia.
you're rooting him on. Beat him. Nah, but so we had to adjust, and it turns out that the kid thought that he wasn't supposed to show up that day. He showed up the other days, which was great, but now we have stuff where it's just the one kid who's being the bully. And you know what? It is what it is. That's how it had to work out. And so we ended up doing the first scene with the bully and the last scene with the bully, so that at least it's symmetrical, so it works out that way. But you just gotta like move on. You gotta think up something different and just say, all right, well, we don't have this now, so we've got to think of it differently.
90% of the job is problem solving. Yeah. More so even. Yeah.
Right.
Problem solving always, because there will always be problems.
Yep.
Yeah.
So let's get out of the horror story phase. Let's go into something fun.
Uh-oh.
Can you guys give me what was your favorite day of filming? So when an audience looks at the
I can answer that.
when an audience looks at the film, they can say, "Oh, it really came out that they enjoyed that day."
That's tough. They all kind of just blend
Easy.
together.
Well, all right, since you have the answer prepared, what was it?
The easiest day was here. We were at this very apartment, and I was, I'm the writer, I'm a producer, but I'm also like the assistant to the director, and I'm also like a production assistant. So like the day I was here, like, one of the things I had to go see was like, God, so Luke sends me, go check out where we're going to shoot outside. Like, go check out the park and take pictures and send them to me. I'm like, sure, I could do that. Nice, easy walk. I love walking outdoors, it's nice. When we were that day that you mentioned, the party scene, it was crazy. Like,
Well, talk more about the day that we shot here.
oh, yeah.
We'll get to the horror stories back.
No. The good story. Yeah, no, it was just easy, like, because, like, I feel like everything was set up. Like, the food, as I was ordering the food, the location was convenient. Like, I went pick it up, brought it here. Like, it was.
And in the movie, which scene is this specifically in the movie?
So, multiple scenes that we shot that day, but one of them is when Manny is like getting in the way while Roberto is trying to watch TV.
Smoke hookah.
Yeah. Another time is when Roberto and Katrina are smoking hookah. Another time he's cooking and they're about to go out to the party and like, oh, I'm hooking up with my friend type thing. So I think those 3 scenes.
So all of the scenes in Roberto's apartment.
Yeah. All the scenes in the Roberto apartment. It was easy day. Yeah.
And then we went up to the park to shoot the love scene, which was also which was really nice and turned out pretty nice. Yeah.
What was your favorite day of filming?
It's hard to remember like what scenes we shot on what days, so I just can remember specific scenes. The scene in the church, I remember.
Oh, yeah.
That was a really nice day. It was a really nice place to shoot.
Really quiet, very
yeah.
very nice visually.
And our gaffer Alessandro Imperiato was just one of the best person you can work with anything ever. Right? He's just amazing. And watching him work is really special. Yeah.
No shade to anybody I've ever worked with, but he's probably the best gaffer I've ever seen.
Yeah, no, he's
He is
amazing at his
amazing.
gig. Yeah, we were so lucky to
amazing.
have him. So watching him light that church was really special. Watching him, light anything was really cool. But we had a lot of exteriors as well, which would normally be fun, except that it was super hot all the time. So to buy people ice cream and stuff. But it's
I'm
better than
so
shooting
glad
this
you
week.
said that
Hottest
because
on recorded.
so glad you said that because that's what I was going to transition into. I want to ask you not what was your least favorite or the worst day, but what day was the most difficult? Because the shots came out amazing, and people don't understand how hard it is to get a perfect shot sometimes. So what day was the most difficult, and you looked at it when the film was done and you felt rewarded?
Oh, I mean, it usually
Can I answer for you?
Yeah, go for
it. It had to have been the first day. It had to have been the first day. You were sunburnt the rest of the week.
I mean, I'm sunburned. I go out for 5 minutes and I'm sunburned. Like I'm a lobster.
This man was pushing a dolly for 6 hours
Yeah, those turned out.
and then bought
pretty
us
decent.
ice cream.
Yeah. That was I love being outside as much as I burn. But but we also got some good stuff that day.
Good.
But usually how difficult a day is will directly correlate to whether or not how much you like it sometimes, right? I mean, the party scene was the most difficult and the most frustrating in post. There were moments in that scene I really wanted to get and just didn't have time for. And it was really on me for scheduling those shots poorly in terms of thinking that would be the most efficient way. But then you get in the space and everything's a little different than you imagined. And there's a lot of people around there. So
We dealt with a lot of people that day.
yeah, so we had some really nice moments in that scene. But overall, that scene was definitely the roughest day.
That's probably what made it the most difficult. That it was the amount of people that we had. It was the day that we had the most people.
Right, but they were great. It wasn't.
No,
They weren't really responsible for slowing anything down. I
Well,
think
by
it was,
people, you mean people that weren't a part of the production.
Right.
Yeah, no, we're not talking about the party scene. We're talking about the first day, right?
Oh,
No,
I
no,
was
no.
talking about the.
Oh,
party
you're
scene
talking
and
about the party
extras.
scene. Okay.
Right, and
I
they
was
were all
lost, my
great.
bad.
So it didn't. That wasn't really a factor in the way that the day sort of got away from us, but. More so that it's a really long scene, and there's lots of different moments between different pairs of characters, and we're in a much smaller place than ideal. So trying to make every bit in that scene look like it was, in a different area of the room, and it was in reality, but also, trying to make the space look bigger than it is, and trying to make the crowd look bigger than it was, and that was tough. It was tricky, but I learned a lot, and I'd love to do it again.
Do you guys remember that day pretty vividly?
Yeah, I know you don't remember
I do.
anything, right?
No, I remember it like it was yesterday.
Oh, yeah.
That
remember
day,
that day.
bro, that day was crazy for me.
Yeah.
Because that was the day. So my favorite day was the day we shot here because I didn't have to travel, because I was traveling 2.5 hours going and coming back every day. And then we had a day off, and then we shot the party scene, which was my personal worst day. I'm sure they could remember, but I was falling asleep in between takes. It was like, cut, action. All right, let's do it.
It kind of worked for the scene, though.
It did. My eyes came out a little, whatever. But the reason I was so crazy is because during the day off, I had the genius idea to go on a date, and it went really, really bad. And I had the decision to either take the hour ride here, get changed, and then take a 3-4 hour ride to set, or just to get to set early. So the call time was like 7 or 8. I got to set at 5:30 in a neighborhood in Brooklyn I didn't know.
So that's what you wore for your date? Was the
Yeah.
Well, no wonder it didn't go well. No,
No, that was a good one. But anyway, so
no, it was cool. It worked perfectly for the scene.
yeah. No, I looked at myself and I was like, it kind of looks like I'm going to a party, whatever. And I was just walking around the neighborhood in Brooklyn for like 3 hours, just waiting for a bodega to open or a Wendy's to open, and I was just like, all right. And then I fell asleep in somebody's car for like an hour, and they closed the door and the windows. Didn't think about me. I was burning up. And then I wake up. Yeah, and then they wake me up, and they're like, hey, it's time to film. And I'm like, all right, I'm about to film for 15 hours.
Hey, 12 hours.
But it came out great.
Never make people go over 12 hours.
Yeah, not a good look. But
Is that like illegal?
I mean,
Because
if it is union, right? I mean, this is assuming union people are working.
Oh,
This is
okay.
union, then if you go over 12 hours, there's going to be a lot of extra expenses and overtime that you're going to have to pay.
on my hands.
Yeah. But no, that's pretty standard. Yeah. And by that I mean you don't shoot for 12 hours. You pack up, and everyone's ready to go by the end of the 12th hour. Which
Well, my concern that day when it started, like I remember, I'm like, okay, so we're getting everything ready. Like people are coming in, and I'm like, but where's Kevin? Where's Kevin? He is like we need him here, and then he's in the car locked up, like somewhere, and I don't see him.
And someone gets in the car and drives away, and he's in the back seat, just sleeping, wakes up at the airport. And that would have been a better movie, maybe.
But luckily, the man came out of nowhere. I was like, oh, there you are.
Yes, it was like a moment of Deus Ex Machina.
I'll never forget that I was literally falling asleep between takes.
Yeah, no, that was
crazy.
That was a day. Yeah, that was a long day. Yeah, but it was great. Gabriel Rosario, who plays Manny, was in that. Yeah, he was great and wonderful to work with, as always.
My next door neighbor.
Yeah. I've known him for 10 years. He's the first person I ever met in the city, and we're still working together. Yeah, he's wonderful, and that was another special thing about shooting here was that he was in all the scenes that we shot here as well. So, yeah,
that was crazy because I remember we him and I took the same train, walked the same route, and went to the same building for rehearsals, and found out at rehearsals that we're next door neighbors.
Wait, you guys were like eyeing each other on the train? You're like,
not necessarily eyeing each other, but like I remember on the way to the rehearsal, because we rehearsed at a theater, I was like, oh, this guy is he the actor? Is he? No, he was ahead in front of me. I was like, is he the actor? And I'm like, if he makes this turn, that's the guy. He made the turn. I was like, that's the guy.
Did you say anything or
no? Not until we got not until we started acting, but turns out we were next door neighbors. Crazy.
New York is this big.
Crazy. And funny thing is, I haven't seen him in the neighborhood since.
He works like crazy.
He
works different hours than you.
I do as well.
Teacher. Yeah,
I do as well. But like we filmed, and I never saw him again. And we live right next to each other.
He's a ghost, He's sort of like the Robin Hood of acting.
He was made to be that part.
Yeah. Well, the first time I read the script, I was like, this has got to be Gabe.
Yeah, you actually. Yeah,
I was like, I know this has got to be him. Yeah. No, he's does that type of role well.
Oh, for sure.
And my only concern about that was like, well, does your friend speak Spanish? You were like, yeah. I'm like, oh, okay, yeah. Then I'll add more Spanish lines. So I put some of the lines. Yeah, it's like.
Yeah, because the character is Puerto Rican in the script before we even. I was like, I know the guy. Yeah.
Yeah, fun times.
I'm going to take this moment to shamelessly plug my work. Fire with Fire is available on Apple TV. My feature film Broke is available on Amazon Prime, or you can watch Paul Makes Everything Worse on Cold Open and on YouTube. That didn't, Oh, what's up with you guys?
Now, plug in your work.
Oh, okay. Hey. My previous film is on Vimeo. It's Let Me Go. You could check it out via the link on my Instagram at The Real Yankee Case. And once I get shots up and running, I'll have a link up there as well. Whether it's YouTube or Vimeo, that's still to be determined. But yeah, check me out, and I'll put all my work up there.
And Mangú Aquí is available on Amazon Prime, as well as Vimeo. And part 2 is about to, we're starting to work on it, and we'll have it available as soon as possible. Coming up.
Yeah, buy the first one. Don't rent it. Buy it.
Thank you.
I have a web series called Paper, which is I'm the star of. I also wrote, produced, and directed it as well. Co-produced and co-directed it with my partner Omar. I have a feature film called One Life to Live, where I played the villain, and I also co-directed it as well. I'm now promoting another romantic comedy called Game of Chess, where I play the main character called Chess. I have some upcoming stuff. I'm doing my own series now, which is a spin-off of Paper. We should be done by September. This is the first time I wrote, produced, directed, casted. I did the whole thing by myself. It was all on me. Very proud of that.
Well, you're falling apart right now.
No, I'm falling apart because of allergies, which hit me at the worst time possible.
Where can we watch any of these things?
So One Life to Live was supposed to be on Tubi already. We ran into a little delay with sending the movie over, but it'll be on Tubi any day now, really. I'm expecting maybe by next week.
What about Paper? Is that available to watch? Somewhere?
Paper will be on Tubi. So right now I'm waiting for the final edits.
Gotcha.
So I can submit it to film festivals, but we're looking to put it on Tubi as well. Just like my series, when I'm done with it, it'll be on Tubi as well. And Game of Chess, I'm not sure where it'll be, but I'm most likely it'll be on like an Amazon Prime or maybe Tubi as well. The reason people go to Tubi so much is because they're paying back the most royalties at the moment.
Yeah.
So people are trying to get their money back, you know. But yeah, I have those things, and I also have some films in the film festival circuit. I just can't really talk about them because they're not out yet. You know how
Yeah,
that
no,
goes.
yeah, I'm excited
You know
to see
how that
that.
goes. I have some stuff that's like great. Yeah, I played a drunk devil. It was crazy. They put makeup on me and stuff. It was crazy.
A drunk devil.
A drunk devil.
Oh, yeah, the
in
sober devils
middle-
are no fun.
In the middle of Times Square, and you know I had to get into character. So they thought it wasn't real beer, but hey, made it great. I think I'm gonna get an award for that.
Method acting.
No, I wasn't acting. Yeah. So you can check out all the stuff. I'm sure we all promote on Instagram and other platforms as well, for sure.